and we will allow them to trickle in for a couple minutes. Sean, you want to say anything to anyone or everyone, all people that are coming in before we get this thing kicked off?
Show up, show out, and show off. Time to learn some shit
Let's
and
go.
get big.
Let's go. Let's go. Cool. Really quick, let's pop in the chat. How is everybody feeling after the base, the ground level foundation laid yesterday? More importantly, how are we feeling actually understanding what it is that we want? Great, confident. Wow, hell of an answer. Fucking solid. New spark's been fired up, motivated. Come on, bring them up. Keep them going. Keep them going. Let's go. Feels great. Always good to be back on the foundation. They're starting to come in. I can't read them all. Let's build a foundation aligned. What else? What else? What else? What else? Building my vision board as we speak. Fired up, fresh perspective. Jeremy, definitely more realistic than you thought. I've known this for years. I'm glad that we've got it. Sup, Will? Fucking hype, clear, and motivated for them. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Anything for everyone really quick, Will? I got to shoot one text out before we get this thing started.
No, I mean, yesterday was super, super fun. All the feedback from you guys, looking at all the homework inside of the Facebook group was great. I'm excited to kind of hop into some of the tangible pieces today. Before we get into that, though, we've got a kind of a fun couple of people. I don't think Ben's going to be joining us, but we've got John Shin in here. He'll kind of share a little bit of his story, and we want to kind of highlight a few things for you guys. But it's going to be a hell of a next 2 days. So we appreciate you guys showing up. It's going to be a whole lot of fun here.
Yeah, hey, can we pop John Shin on the speaker view really quick? He's looking really handsome today in those glasses. That background looks awesome. Let me make sure mine looks just as good for you, John. John, what's up, dude?
Hey.
What's going on, man? John, we're gonna ask you some questions really quick because I think it's important, man. I think it's important that people see the reality of what could happen when you get confident in sales. And for those of you that don't know, my first experience with John Shin, I was running the client success team on a sales offer, and John Shin texted me and told me how bad it was. Actually, really funny. And then this guy over here in the red shirt, after Sean got in and started working for the team that I was on, stole him. So he stole him, but he stole him in a really, really good way. When Sean stole John, and Sean and John are hard to say back to back. When Sean stole John from us there, John was doing pretty good, but I know there were some things he was missing, some things that he was looking for. So, John, when you left Traffic and Funnels and you decided to go join Sean's boot camp and work with him and dive deep there, what were you looking to get out of boot camp? Like, where were you? What were you needing?
I think sales is all about like finding your own voice. I feel like what's really missing in the sales space a lot of the time is they teach you the way that they were successful in sales and the script that made them successful. And sorry if you can hear my dog, I just got a dog. But I really resonated with how Sean was selling and all the guys over at Sales Sniper. And it was really quite all of a sudden, really, because I was doing all right. I was making like five grand a month, 6 grand a month. So it wasn't crazy, but at the time I was like 20 years old. You know what I mean? So it wasn't bad for where I was. And I actually had a pretty slow start in sales. I quit college when I was like 19 years old during the pandemic. And
Nice.
my it was a big move because my parents actually moved to the US so that I can go to college in the US. And then here I am dropping out to do sales. And the first 6 months I made like nothing. In fact, when I hired an accountant like 2 years ago, and the first year and 6 months that I was in sales, I made a grand total of like 45K.
Nice.
And it wasn't like, it wasn't crazy. It was enough to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And
So,
when I
So I'm sorry to cut you off here, John. So we like you came into sales and it was like, hoorah, I'm in sales making no money.
Yeah.
You were just like, hey, this handsome chap from the UK has something that I want. He presents confidently. He has a proper process that he works and utilizes. And you're like, I want part of that, correct?
So I bought into NEPQ 3.0 for like 8,000, and I went into debt actually for it, and I just didn't know how to use it. And Sean was a part of the recruiting team, and he put out a Facebook post that he said something like, I'm opening a boot camp for like 4 weeks. And for the, it's not a guaranteed placement. If you go through it, it's going to be a lot of work and you might not get placed. But if you go through it and I like you, I'll possibly place you on one of the offers at Sales Sniper. And so I
Okay.
decided to join the boot camp. And I think the first day Sean was like, we only have like 2 or 3 spots that we're going to fill immediately. And then everyone else is going to be kind of like on the back burner. Like as we need reps, we'll start hiring.
Okay. How was the boot camp, by the way?
It was great. Like,
Great.
so I was 2 days into the boot camp. I was probably spending way too much of Sean's time on each call, as you can probably remember. I was asking you like probably 30 minutes of questions out of the 45 minutes that we had, because no one else was asking questions. Like it was like, why not get the coaching?
Hang on, John. Hang on. 'Cause
Uh-oh.
I had you on a number of meetings when you joined Sales Sniper. You would have asked those questions anyways.
So John, you joined boot camp because Sean had something that you wanted and you knew that was a part of a recruiting process to make more money. Boot camp was, I guess, fill in the blank for me. Boot camp with Sean was blank.
Uh, like the first couple sessions, I was like, I really want to get a position. Like I really want to get a position. And the thing that I noticed was there was like 100 people in boot camp at the time when I joined, and everyone had a full-time offer that they were on, and so did I. And I thought to myself, if I did this full time, like if I, practice the script full time, I could probably get a role. Like that would give me the best chance. So I actually quit where I was working with you, Dean, and decided to practice the script for like 8 hours a day to, put myself in the best possible position to, as they would say, join Sales Sniper. And luckily it worked out. And 4 months later, I started. I got my first closing role. I started at.
Let's go. I'm just hyping you up, dude.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I started as a setter for 7th level, and then I got promoted to a closer in like 3.5 months since I was there, and it was really scary because like I was actually quite a bit in debt, and I've never been in debt before. I'm like 21 years old, and also like at the time since I was in debt, I was like, why the fuck would I not just go all in? So I decided to move to Scottsdale to work at Jeremy's office because they were saying like, hey, Jeremy just opened an office.
Nice.
And I figured, why not just go all in, since I'm all in anyway. So I moved to Scottsdale, and I got promoted to a closer there, thankfully, thank goodness. And then the first month I was a closer, I made 11,000.
What was your highest month?
My highest month that year was actually the second month.
Which was what?
It was 18.8.
So we went just to kind of full circle us really quick. Pre-boot camp, we were 5-6 month, got into boot camp, got out of boot camp 2 months in after 18K.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And the reason I bring this up, guys, and the reason I bring John on, and the reason that I wanted to have him come on and speak with you guys and tell a little bit of his story here is this, right? Some of us are making 5-6K a month, right? And I know John very, very well. I know him very well. there's things that we can do to skyrocket our sales career, but more importantly, there's things that we can do to skyrocket our commissions. Right? Sometimes it's being in the right rooms. Sometimes it's being with the right people. Sometimes it's just being around the individual that knows what they're doing and the individual that's able to give you a humanized process that helps bring you more confident in yours, which is what we've seen from John. And I know the offer John's on now, and I've seen him have 15K months. I'm pretty sure he's probably hasn't dropped below 10 in a while. You know, John's consistently in six figures. And if that's your goal, that's great. But we're going from good to great, okay in our process, to confident in our process. So does that all, am I saying that all correct, John, just to make sure? Yes or no?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you sold my story better than I did.
I know I'm a natural salesman, dude. But I just wanted to bring him on, guys, to show you guys what's real with the right individuals in your corner, but also by following the right process. Now, I know our boy Will here has some amazing things as well for us. Uh-oh. I'm just playing on Will does. I'm just messing with you guys. I know Will has some amazing things for us. He's talked to me about it 15 times over the past couple days. But I'm going to let him jump into it. But I wanted John on here just to show you, hey, with the foundational work, with the right process, with the right people, this is what happens. This is what you get. More confidence in your process, better part for us, more commission in our bank accounts. So Will, I'll let you take it over.
Beautiful. John, first off, man, pleasure having you here. And obviously working with you over the years, the plethora, how many El Guapo? Plethora of voice notes that you've said over the years has been super, super fun. So congrats on the new dog, and keep the voice notes coming, brother. All right, cool. All right. Real quick, bonus points inside of the chat if you knew the quote that movie was from. How many El Guapo? The plethora. Yes, Jeremy nailed it. Three Amigos, still one of the best ones. It's a classic. We're going to hop into it today, guys. I'm going to break down a framework. It's also the way that we evaluate talent. And I'll tell you, I mean, we've all been in this game. I told you guys really quickly my story yesterday. I'll give you the background 20 seconds because it's much more about you guys than it is about me. But I do think it's kind of important to know where it came from. 10 years special operations community. Had no idea what the fuck I was going to do as I came to the end of that career. I was like, dude, I am good at one thing. It's going to combat. And I am functionally not that good at anything else in my life except for training and training other people. And so I opened up a gym. And so built that up to a bunch of locations, all that stuff. The thing that really changed for me inside of there was figuring out how to sell, how to have great conversations. And I started out just really authentic. And then I learned how to sell. And I got worse. And then I went back to being authentic. And so we're going to talk about a lot of like what that process is, what it looks like. But from there, built up a bunch of businesses, found out my wife was pregnant. And I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be a terrible dad. Like I am so obsessive about growing companies. Like I don't know how to be a dad. Like my dad took off when I was born. I was like, I got to figure this out, man. So I ended up selling full time, really kind of like diving into that, but also figuring out how to be a great dad. For you guys, it might just not be about becoming great at sales, but how do I be a great partner? How do I travel the world? How do I enjoy my life? How do I pursue this other hobby that I have? How do I become a bodybuilder and then become bigger than Dean and Sean combined? Right? Could be a lot of things for you guys. But when you hear my story, I want you to think about what it is for you. So I was selling full-time for a friend of mine, connected with Matt Ryder. This was kind of early days before people knew Jeremy, and Seventh was still pretty small and all that stuff. He kind of brought me into Sales Sniper, sold over there full-time, made $1 million commission only. Then from there, head of sales, managed 27 different accounts at once, which was a nightmare. Sean helped me with that quite a bit. He remembers those days. CEO of Sales Sniper, split off a financial services division as a full partner at 7th level, 225 reps over there, a bunch of other stuff and some other stuff I won't bore you guys with private equity and all that. The reason why I say this is to say, trained thousands of reps. And there's these commonalities that kept popping up. And I became really obsessive over the years of how do we get somebody from okay to good and good to great as fast as humanly possible, where it sticks. And I think that's the biggest thing. If you guys have ever had those kind of months where you're unstoppable, you close everything on follow-ups, you're killing the game, like everything lines up, they're great. But usually what happens is you have follow-on months where what happens? Go down. It's like, fuck, am I as good as I thought I was? And so we've identified kind of 3 different phases and stages of progression of be truly mastering sales. And I'll kind of share those with you guys and take it through. So let me share my screen. Can you guys see that all right? Is that coming through for you guys, Dean, Sean? Beautiful. Cool. So level 1, and we'll get into kind of the actual progression, what this looks like. Level 1 is you guys have to communicate like a human being. The amount, which is wild, the amount of people that I see that are like, hey man, and it's this crazy debate in sales. Should I show up as my authentic self or should I follow the script? And it's like, the answer is both. Like, it's a crazy, insane thing in my head. It's like, if I asked Sean to go to breakfast and he was like, yeah, man, let's go to breakfast. I'm like, cool. 8 a.m. tomorrow, hotel lobby. And he's like, yeah. Hey, do you want me to show up on the right time or the right place? What the fuck, man? Like, both. The answer is both. You have to show up as authentically you, and you have to show up in the right place with the right script. And so when we think through this, again, with 3 levels, this is 100% what I've seen for the majority of sales reps. So the first thing is, if you can't communicate like a human being, no script will help you because you'll come across like a robot. It will be weird and awkward, and you'll sound like a parrot of somebody else, and it'll be super inauthentic, and like, it's just not going to help. Actually, we'll do this. Before I get into that, put a little cart before the horse there. I'm going to take us back. I'm going to take you guys what I look at the flow. If you guys can, inside of the chat right now, there's the day 2 workbook. Go ahead and click on that. The biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that I see sales reps miss, is they just don't really know what they're actually looking for from an outcome on a sales call. Because if you know the outcome, you can be flexible. If somebody's super weird and super aggressive coming into a sales call, doesn't matter. You can be flexible with it because you know the outcome that you're looking for. If somebody's super compliant, great, that's easy. But when you have that flexibility, instead of just having the 1 or 2 avatars that you can close really easy and the 1 or 2 conversations that are in your wheelhouse, you'll be able to expand to the majority of prospects. If you ever want to close above 40%, you're going to have to be flexible in conversations and know the outcomes. Is this making sense, guys? Throw me a yes in the chat just to know you guys are here. Yes, yes, fuck yes, fuck yes. All right, sweet. Cool. First thing is connecting. When we go into connecting, all I really want to figure out is what brought them into that call. I'll say that again, what brought them into that call. If you do a little bit of rapport, that's cool. For me, I'm a pretty busy dude. And like, for the most part, if you guys are in high ticket sales, everybody has been on sales calls before, for the most part, right? If you're in a health offer, maybe not, they're not as aware, and that's cool. But everybody else, if that's not you, they have been on these calls before. And if you're like, hey, where are you from? Where are you calling in from? Did you catch the game last night? Did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you do all this stuff? They're kind of like, yeah, let's just fucking get to it. And the analogy I use to this is like, if you, like, my wife is a trauma surgeon. If I fall off the 2nd story of my house, cut my arm on the way down, drive into the hospital, get into the emergency room, and I'm like, hey, I need help. And they're like, yeah, what's going on? I'm like, cut my arm. And the nurse is like, all right, cool, go ahead and have a seat. Well, by the way, did you grow up here in Madison or did you grow up somewhere else? I'm like, I need some help. Like, what are we doing here? They're like, yeah, totally. But did you catch the Super Bowl? Like, what the fuck are we doing? I need help. Are you going to help me? What conversation are we having? So I think the more you belabor that and the more you drag that out, the more people will disconnect from you. So easiest thing is, what is the outcome? What did they see? What brought them into the call? What kind of problem are we looking to solve, or what kind of solution are we looking to get broadly? This making sense still? Yes? And everybody in the comments said, yep, yes, fuck yes, beautiful. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the engagement. Without being able to see you guys, it's helpful for us to know that you're there and this is landing. Situation. I spend a lot more time in situation than most other people, and most other people in sales will tell you. I start with very broad goals here, and I want to know all of the context that's going to lead to me understanding them and taking them down a pathway where they feel like I actually know what the fuck I am talking about. The amount of calls, and Dean, Sean, feel free to chime in here. The amount of calls I'm sure all three of us have reviewed where like the questions just seem random and like they don't actually apply. What percentage would you guys say that is?
It's fucking high.
80 to 90.
Yeah,
Really fucking high.
it's the majority. It's not the minority for sure. It's definitely, I would say 65%, 70% plus for me. And so when I look at that, it's like you're immediately, that person is going to start judging you. They're going to go, is this a person that can help me or am I wasting my time? And you guys probably do the exact same thing on sales calls. And so if you don't have quick questions, right? Let's say you're there talking about a marketing offer. And it's like, cool. How many leads are you bringing in a month right now? Okay. And of that, how many actually show to sales calls? And then what's your conversion rate? All right. So you guys bringing in 100 leads, get about a 65% show rate. And then you guys are converting at 20% right now. So you guys are doing like 12 to 13 clients a month. Does that sound right? Yep. Okay. And what channels are you guys using? This, and this. Have you tried anything else? Or is it predominantly just Facebook for you guys? Okay, cool. The more I can take them down where it actually sounds like I know what I'm talking about and actually know what I'm talking about, the easier it is for this person to go, this is an expert. This is somebody I should trust. So a little bit of an aside, but the highest form of sales is moving not just from a good conversation, but into a trusted advisor. You know more than I know as a prospect. You have the answers and can guide me, as opposed to me just waiting to hear the pitch and deciding if I'm going to move forward or not. The other cool thing about this is by the time you take them through a situation, if you do it correctly, the problem is so glaringly apparent, you can't miss it. The biggest thing, yeah, David, we worked on that a lot. The biggest thing that you can miss in a sales call is problem. Problem is the basis of the sales, guys. If the problem, think of it as the roots of the tree will only grow as tall as the roots are deep. If you don't dig a deep problem, you won't be able to create a big gap and there will not be a desire to move forward. If there's no desire to move forward, there's no sale. And so if you do situation correctly and ask the correct problem awareness question and then go through what I'm about to teach you, the rest of the sale is kind of yours to fuck up. Like it's the rest of it's pretty easy as long as you know how to present. So when we look at problem, actually before that, anything to add, boys? All right.
Nothing on my end, bro. Keep rolling. This is good.
All right, cool. 4 stages of problem awareness, guys. The first one, well, technically 5. First one, you got to ask a good problem awareness question around the right topic, which is why I say spend more time in situation. And we train a lot on this. The next thing is going to be to probe and clarify. In general, as human beings, it would be weird, like if we, again, let's say Sean showed up at the right place and we're having breakfast and we're just catching up. And then from there, it was like, I was like, hey man, how's life? Sean's probably going to be like, that's pretty good. Or like, it's okay. It'd be super weird for me in that conversation to be like, yeah, how do you mean? He'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we're eating breakfast, you weirdo. Like, I just want coffee and to like kind of hang out. Like, don't be strange. We are basically programmed in the way that we interact throughout our lives to not do that because it's super, super fucking weird. We have to completely forget that in sales. Anything that is vague or generic as we're going down problem, we have to probe and clarify. Now, I want to give you guys a quick tip on this because this is probably nothing mind-shattering to you guys yet. Here's the big thing. If you do it from a place of challenge, from a tone, If I go, like, Sean, give me a challenging tone on problem.
Well, if you did that though, wouldn't that be a little bit weird?
Yeah. So if instead I'm like, instead of going like, hey, how do you mean? Or like, hey, how do you mean? Well, what's that about? Right? It's more curious. People will challenge it like, yeah, how do you mean? And you're like, whoa, calm down. You're putting this person on the back heel. It's like you're still in a conversation. Don't approach it from a challenging tone. Approach it from like more of a curious tone, and you're going to be, this is easy to land. Like it's just a conversation. From there, we want to figure out how long has this actually been going on. After that, we're going to get into what sort of impact that's been having. And then the fourth level, which is optional, but when we started rolling this out at Sales Sniper years ago, I won't have enough room here, so I'll abbreviate it. It's possible ramifications. So it sounds like this. Yeah, we've just been struggling to get quality leads. How do you mean quality? Is it more about kind of the volume of leads, or, you know, whether they're actually qualified to work with you, or just show rate? I need to figure out like what the conversation is. Yeah, it's just volume, right? Then from there, it's like, okay, cool. How many leads are you guys looking to actually bring in? We're bringing in 100 right now. We want to 10x that. Okay, so you guys are looking to bring in 1,000, or you guys are looking to actually just get to, let's say, 100 showed sales calls. No, it's about 100 show sales calls. Okay, so it may not be 1,000. It's about how do we increase the quality of that, but also how do we increase the volume as well, so that way we can actually do it. Yep, sweet, cool, right on, we're good. How long have you guys been looking to increase that so that way you can 10x the business? Yeah, we've been trying for like 9 months, man. Okay, cool. Now I have probe and clarify, I know what we're talking about, and I know how long it's going on. These are always going to be our logical pieces. So it's an old, well, you guys all know it, but let's put it in the chat anyway, so I know you guys are here. Do people buy because of logic or emotion? And everybody in the chat said emotion. Both. I agree with both. I agree with both. I'm a very logical human being in general. So what's most of the time, beautiful. Most of the time I am looking at, does this make sense? These guys will tell you, since we're all business partners, I am frustratingly logical sometimes, right? People get really excited about stuff and I'm just like, but what about this? They're like, oh, fuck yeah, I forgot about that. And it's like, sorry guys. So people buy because of both, but you've got to have the emotion to move forward. Emotion creates confidence. Emotion moves past fear. And so that's where we get into impact. What kind of impact is that having on the growth of the business with not being able to increase the lead flow despite what you guys have tried? This and this and this. I'll tell you guys what you're looking for here. It's frustrating, pissed off. Anytime you hear this on a sales call, it's the best. Whatever they say after that is coming from a place of emotion. They feel it in their body. You can look at a prospect and you can see it. This is huge. Then from there, I like to have a mini consequence question here, which is possible ramifications. With you feeling frustrated and trying everything, what are the possible ramifications for the business if you aren't able to increase lead flow? What does that look like for your goals? Yeah, like we just wouldn't hit it. It'd be super frustrating. I'd get super pissed off. Great. That's all I want. I have my emotion. From there, we can bridge out. When we bridge out into solution, what we're going to get into is what have you tried in the past to be able to actually increase that? And then from there, solution's really simple. With the absence of the problem, what does that do tangibly? And then being able to do that, what does that do for you emotionally, right? If we're talking business, what does that do for the business? What does that open up in the rest of your life with being able to actually take home more money? Beautiful. Growing that tree. You got the problem, which is the roots. Now we're going to the solution. Guys, if you're taking notes, the homework is all about the outcomes and what we're looking for. Make sure you guys are writing down the outcomes. The other thing that you guys are going to do, and this is the basis of your homework for today, is you're actually going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at this? 10 being I get this on every single call, every single time with every single avatar. 1 being I skip this most of the time, which brings us to consequence. Most people, when they hit consequence, the reason why they will skip it or try to relanguage it is because if I just ask, what happens if you aren't able to do X and Y and Z and you're stuck in the same place for the next 3, 6, 12 months? The biggest thing that people get here and fuck up is they go, yeah, well, I wouldn't let that happen. And they're just like, well, yeah. And then there's all these analogies, right, that we came up with to try to work around this. Well, if you were running out of a burning building, or if you were chasing an ice cream truck, or if there was Usain Bolt, and like, don't get me wrong, these are all great. And like, we created them at Sales Sniper, but we created them because my opinion on this, we weren't as good at sales as we are now. And we didn't understand it as deeply as we do now. And having thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of calls over the years. All you want here is you want them to make a change. And so the way you ask this question matters. You've peaked them on solution. Think about the psychology of this. We've peaked on solution. And then we talk about what happens if you're not able to get that. It doesn't make sense. You have to bridge over there. So what happens if you aren't able to get up to paying yourself 80 grand a month so you can have that villa in the south of France, or whatever it is, and you're still in the same status quo that you guys had been of not being able to get more than 100 leads a month? Like, what does that look like for the growth of the business over the next 3, 6, 12 months? When you adjust and relanguage this, it changes the type of responses you get. Again, all you want here is you want them to make a change. The gap is big enough and they see what happens if they don't. That's it. People get this super twisted. All right, is this clear? Hook me up in the chat to let me know you guys are still with me. Yep, yes, fuck yes. All right, cool, beautiful. Clear as day, awesome, preach on. I am preaching. I feel like I'm standing on my soapbox yelling at it. All right, cool. What's up, Jill? All right, cool. Presentation. All right, so presentation has a couple of rules to it. Presentation is probably one of the things that nobody teaches because nobody's that great at putting them together. Like, I've yet to see anybody that, like, in the sales training world, like, their unique mechanism is like, here, let me teach you presentations. That's not like higher level B2B. Inside of a presentation, you need 3 things. You need to be able to go make it clear and relevant as to what it is, who it's for. Usually this is going to be stages. The second piece of this, and this is the one that almost everybody could use some tweaking around, what makes it unique and different? If I'm comparing you, let's say it's a marketing thing, if I'm comparing you to everybody else out there, what makes you unique and different? And if you can't answer that question, it's going to be very challenging to get that sale, especially if they're comparing other people. The third thing is taking their problem that you got in discovery and or their solution and tying it in a presentation to make it relevant. If you do those 3 things, you're going to be good. After that, we're going to get into logistical objections, which is the big 4. Time, money, partner, think about it. Me personally, I turn every objection into a money objection. I grew up really poor in Detroit. I didn't have money growing up. I had to get over my own money stuff as I started making money. And so, like, it's very real for me. So it comes across pretty authentic for me. And so literally, if somebody goes, yeah, man, I just need to think about it. It's like, totally, man. It makes sense. Can I ask, is there an aspect of the money that makes you want to think about it? Guys, I've never had anybody say no to that. Same thing with a partner objection. They're like, yeah, I just need to talk it over with my wife. Like, all right, cool. Dude, can I ask? Because, like, I don't want you to end up on the couch. Is there an aspect to the money that makes you want to talk it over with her? Again, nobody's ever said no. I literally have never had anybody say no. So then from there, I need to figure out what kind of objection I'm in. Is it that you don't feel like it's worth the money? Or is it that you don't have the money? No, it's totally worth the money. What aspect in particular is really standing out for you? This, and this. Why that? Because I think it would solve this problem for me. That makes sense. Because we can always work with the money. That's the easiest thing. But are you sure, if we can figure that out, this is something that you want to do? Because a lot of people talk about it. Not a lot of people actually move forward and do the hard work of growing their business. No, I definitely want to do it. I have to tie down value first. When I tie down value, now I can present payment plans. If I keep getting objections, then I know I'm in fear, right? Sometimes there's true logistic finance. Sometimes you have to work through that. It's rare, guys. But from there, I'm in fear, which we'll talk more about in a second. Before I keep going, because I know I've been talking nonstop rapid fire here for a little bit, what questions do you guys have? What's standing out to you? What epiphanies, aha moments are you guys getting? I'd love to see it in the chat so I can know where to guide you guys, because I can take this a lot of different places next. Jeopardy music. Sean, Dean, anything to add?
The only thing I would add is structuring a conversation is key to the conversion. What Will is doing here is giving you that structure and giving you those key points that are goals and objectives for each phase of the conversation. Like, have something to aspire to on the call. So as Dean was talking about yesterday, being that true, authentic self, how can I be me to get to this destination? And you need to kind of work on what is your language that you would use to essentially achieve the same outcome, right? This is probably the foremost and best example of how I've seen a sales call explained. And the visual of it should, I mean, if you ever get the opportunity, put it on a bloody board in front of you. And honestly, your script becomes even more powerful because you can see it. Not just read it, but you can see it. And it makes a huge difference when you see it like this. Massive. Right. And as well as explaining it, the congruence that you should have with this process should hit every single time. But it's got to make it your own. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What you guys are looking at, I think you guys should, I mean, you'll have the recordings here, but take a screenshot of it and look at it, because it shows you the framework of how a real sales process is ran. And what we'll mention in there is it's always about the money. It's kind of funny because it is. If someone's ended up on a call with you at this point and you're pitching them, I think they're pretty certain that what you have is going to help them in some form. Would you guys say that's fair, Will and Sean?
Yep.
They're not wasting all the time walking through a funnel, getting on with your SDR, checking out all the emails, booking a call, spending 40 minutes with you, to not think that what you have is worth it or going to help them in some sort of way. So at this point, like, the real reason someone would say no is it is about the money. Well, maybe it's a very high level offer and it's just maybe you're missing one thing, and that's okay. But for 99% of the cases, and especially in the world that a lot of us work in, it kind of is about the money. It kind of always is about the money. And that's all I have to add.
Beautiful. We'll go through some of the questions here. I don't think I'll be able to get to all of them. I also want to go into fear because I want to cover a little bit of that, which is probably half the questions I think that I see in the chat. Some of this stuff, yeah. Brad, do we tell them price before we give them a temp check? I do. Like, if you don't know the price, that's just going to be the next obvious question. And again, I've reviewed a bazillion calls, and like, I'm a pretty, like, I break things down into frameworks. I look at commonalities. What can I change? All this stuff. It's why I'm pretty good and kind of known for sales process and coming into companies and adjusting stuff to make more sense. I would say 90% of the time, if they don't know price when you're going in there, when you do the temp check, they just go, how much is it? And then you're literally looping back up. So you can do it both ways. I won't say there's a right or wrong, but there's a right or wrong for you. And there's definitely the moves that are, the structures that are a higher percentage likelihood of producing a sale at the end. They're not dumb. when they hear the pitch, they're immediately going, this sounds good, this sounds good, how much is this? This sounds good, this sounds good, how much is it? And I think if you don't give them price there, a lot of times they just don't know what to do with it. And again, there's a lot of different ways to teach this. I'm just teaching you guys the way that I do this and have had the most success with this, which is if we don't know price, then I'm just going to get a new set of objections at the end. And if I get value there, it's like, great, that's awesome. But they're still just going, I'm not fucking listening to you. I want to know how much this is. Their brain is immediately distracted. You can see it in the calls. Yeah, David, no rationale question anymore. I don't use it as much, but again, I'm giving you guys more of the outcomes on this instead of the specific questions, because like, I'll give you guys a weird example of this. I had an offer on, it was probably the best I'll ever be at sales. I was selling full-time, Sean Spencer Burnett, when I was on that offer. This was the weirdest offer on the planet, guys. So we took him on as a done for you account at Sales Sniper. I was head of sales, still selling full-time. It was madness. But he had both multiple six-figure offer. And he also had like a 8.5K program where it was all super spiritual, new age clients and all of this stuff. Like that, because I understood the outcomes and what I was looking for from each question, which we'll talk a little bit about how you guys can get all that stuff and all that, I was able to relanguage everything. So if you talk to somebody who is more of a circular thinker in a linear fashion, they're just going to go, this guy doesn't get me. Like if you talk to a bunch of artists, if you talk to a bunch of people that are like in music, and it's very much like it's X and Y and Z, their brains just don't work that way. And so with those guys, I'd have to go like, what do you feel like you need in order to manifest your dreams into coming into reality? Not what do you think you need in order to get up to 20K a month? It's the same thing, right? But when you understand the outcomes that you're looking for, you can adjust it for the prospect. You can have that flexibility, and that takes time to learn, and you have to have a foundation first. But once you get to the point where you know these outcomes, literally, you could just be anywhere. You could be drunk and do this, and you would nail it because you can adjust to the person in front of you. That's huge. That's what I want to drive home to you guys. Most people don't know why they're asking the questions they are. And because of that, they don't know how to have productive conversations. All right. Cool. We'll talk about objections in a second. Michael, first one was clear and relevant. If they don't understand how it works and what they're actually getting for the presentation, then they're just going to be like, hey, man, I'm kind of confused. And there's a lot of offers that we've come into, and I've reworked their presentation because I'm like, guys, you're just too generic. Like they don't understand what the hell that it is that they're actually getting. And so you tighten it up, and then it's like, all right, cool, they get it now. And so they get less objections. On those ones, you'll hear it because when you ask the value, is that you don't feel like it's worth the money or you don't have the money, they're like, I don't really get it. Like, what am I getting? And so those ones are very much, we have to go in and adjust presentation. All right. Change. Julius, how do you change your situation questions in a B2B case? They're just very logical. I sold a lot of B2B, a lot of multiple six-figure offers, going from gatekeeper to director to C-suite to board to chief legal officer. They're just very logical. And so the faster you can take them through that, it's actually much easier to become trusted advisor. If leads are colder and info gathering. Ooh, Alessandro, it's a great question. I unfortunately don't have time to go into it. I've got a whole other presentation I do for sales managers and business owners on how to create sales process. And that one would unfortunately take me probably the rest of the time to explain, and everybody else might get a little bored. But hit me up offline, and then I'll be able to kind of give you a little bit of stuff around that. All right, cool. All right, let's talk about fear. When we get into fear, you get two options. You get to address it in discovery, i.e. before the presentation, or you can address it after. Me personally, I'm very big on identity frames, very big on identity frames. I get a lot of objectionless closes because I'm seeding identity more than anything else. 3 beliefs that somebody needs to move forward. They need to believe in the opportunity. They need to believe in the company. and you on the call, and they need to believe in themselves. Identity covers two of those, the opportunity and themselves in terms of belief. So if I get a limiting belief, and the first step of addressing limiting belief inside of discovery is being able to identify it. So let's do this. Sean, how do you know you're getting a limiting belief? What do you hear inside of discovery? What's some of the ones that tick you off every time, or you hear it inside of a sales call when you're reviewing it?
I'm a big like proponent of words rather than sentences. So it's like using words like I try, I think, maybe. The uncertainty is what I'm listening for. You know, if I could do that, if it would work for me, those kind of things are what I'm listening for.
Yes. I don't know if anything works in the space. I don't know if anybody's really real or they're all just scams.
Yep.
I've tried a million things. I think I'm doing everything right. So it's probably just nothing works, right? Like you hear all of these things and you get to decide that's going to be my objection at the end, which is belief in themselves, belief in the opportunity, maybe belief in you and the company. I get to decide if I want to address it there or if I want to address it at the end. If I want to address it there, I'll give you guys a really simple one that I use a lot, kind of came up with it years ago. This one I will take full credit for. To my knowledge, nobody else has ever created this, and I was the first one to teach it. I called it two camps analogy. So it's subtle, but it works incredibly well. So Sean, give me whatever limiting belief you want. We'll just role play it back and forth.
I mean, it sounds good. I just don't know whether it'll work for me.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing, right? Because, dude, I talk to a lot of business owners that are in a similar position. They've done a lot of the research. They're working super hard. Man, you look at them and it's like they kind of fall into these two camps. Both of them done a lot of research, worked really hard, working 80 hours a week, struggling to make ends meet. But this person over here, regardless of what they do, man, they can put in all the new marketing efforts, the new CRM, the new funnel, new ad sets, everything else. It constantly feels like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But dude, you contrast that with the person in camp number 2. Same thing, same circumstance. But they know it's not just about a check in the box. They know it's not just about a new funnel and a new ads. Like there's a difference between playing basketball in high school and playing basketball in the NBA. And these guys will do whatever it takes to figure out all the little details that make all of the difference, that allows them to see that hockey stick level growth in their company, to be able to bring in that many leads, like because they understand what it looks like. So I guess for you, where do you feel like you fall between those two camps right now?
Probably the first one.
Right. And do you feel like that's where you want to end up, or do you want to move closer to that camp number 2?
No, I need to be in camp number 2.
Awesome. That's all I need to do. I need to seed that identity right there. And then I'll move right into where my next question. I got that in situation, great. I'll ask my next situation question. If we got it in solution, great. I'll bridge into my next solution question. Here's the key to it. When they bring up that objection at the very end of the call, I can just go, hey man, do you feel like you're making decisions more from the place of camp number 1 or camp number 2? And Sean, we can role play it here.
Camp number 1.
Right. And so if you're making decisions from camp number 1, where do you think you're going to end up here?
Probably the same place, or God forbid worse.
What kind of decisions do you think you need to make?
Different ones.
Right.
Better ones.
And do you feel like X and Y and Z and blah, blah, blah will allow you to get there?
I mean, yeah, I do.
Have you started?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. And if I get the next objection, I get the next objection. Right. But when you seed identity in the beginning, what I will tell you guys is it dramatically reduces the objection handling battles at the end. And guys, I used to love objections. I would go into the 45-minute objection handling battles. Like I'm here for it. I'm not saying don't learn that. And I'm also saying it doesn't work. But I'll tell you guys what happened to me is I'd be on 6, 7 calls during the day. I'd have 3 or 4 of those objection handling battles and I would get the sale, like great, and high close rate and rah and all this shit. But I'd be fucking exhausted at the end of the day. At the end of the day, like I just wanted to shut my laptop down and not talk to anybody. And I was just wrecked. Like that's exhausting. And for me, I had to figure out a way to kind of compress my calls as I got busier and busier into 30 minutes. So it was when I figured out how to really use identity and pre-handle objections, it changed everything. So you have to be able to identify limiting beliefs and then address those limiting beliefs, seed identity, and then you can tie back to that at the end if you get objections, which you'll get a lot more objectionless closes. Now, here's where it becomes fun. By the way, talking a lot here. Give me some love inside of the chat. Let me know if this is making sense. Let me know if this is helpful. All right. Cool. Beautiful, beautiful, super helpful. Great. Again, this is about you guys. It's not about us. So we're here to help you guys. Great. Love this, love this, love this. All right. Level 1, communicate like a human. We talked about that situation. We talked about how we build that. Be able to get kind of that level 3 problem, right? Get some level of emotion and then present. 3 things we talked about: clear and relevant, unique and different. Take what they got from problem or solution and discovery and tie it in there. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. Stuff's going around. So within that, if you have that, you can close at 20-25% with that. It's not the end of where you want to be, but I will tell you guys, when we train people, when we train reps, when we train teams, everything else, it's just assessing where these guys at and then figuring out where do we need to focus. And a lot of times it's just being able to get a good problem first, sometimes presentation. But if we can do that, then we have a basis to work from. It's monopoly rules. If you don't have that, you don't get to pass go. You don't get to collect $200. The next thing is getting into solution, consequence, and logistical objection tie downs. Now, the reason why level 2 isn't just all rolled into level 1 is because consequence and logistical objection tie downs, if we're not pre-handling objections, are the first place inside of the sales call where we're actually challenging somebody. And most people are not that comfortable challenging people. Most people, they get a little nervous about it, right? Like, oh, what if I don't get a good response? What if they come back at me? They're worried about conflict, and that's normal. It's a weird thing to not worry about that. I spent 10 years in combat, 9 combat deployments. I know I'm not normal. I know it's not normal to be comfortable with challenge, right? So you have to find ways to get comfortable with this, or at least push yourself to do it in a way where it doesn't feel combative to the prospect. The people that teach a lot about objections, a lot of them have worked for us at Sales Sniper when Sean and I were there. They like conflict in general. They're very comfortable with it. That's why they teach it, which is great. But if that's not you, you have to find ways to get comfortable with it where it's not an indictment of you. And you can start to take people through consequence and challenge them a little bit around logistical objections. We talked about overcoming limiting beliefs and discovery. Sean's got a ton of stuff he's going to go over with you guys tomorrow on objection handling and everything else. So I won't steal his thunder there. Like I said, you get 2 options: overcome fear objections after the presentation, overcoming limiting beliefs and discovery. And so that's the difference. Level 3, and somebody asked yesterday, hey, what takes somebody from good to great? And my answer was the ability to challenge another human being so that they can do better and they can become a better version of themselves. That's what we're really talking about here. I just spent about 40 minutes to explain that, as opposed to my 20-second answer yesterday. So guys, this is the structure of taking you through the 3 levels of what it looks like to be able to close. Like, again, it's very cool to say like, cool, made $1 million, blah, blah, blah. But when you truly master these 3 levels, it translates to everything. It translates to my daughter when I communicate with my 5-year-old daughter, and I can just not challenge her, but I can have good communication. Oh, what do you mean by that, kiddo? This, and this. She'll challenge me. She's very comfortable with challenge. Anybody who has a 5-year-old, everybody's like, yeah, they get it. But Sean, Dean, what else do you guys have to add here?
I think knowing where you are, right? And in knowing what level you're at and where you're comfortable with at the moment and where your level of discomfort is. And you can quickly identify what your low hanging fruit that you need to work on is in order to get to that next stage. Like, it's very obvious to all of us that do core reviews, and each and every one of you should be. There are moments in the call where, oh, that's awkward. Those are the moments where you kind of spot that, yeah, I'm a level 1 at the moment. I'm not 2, right? And we know now that we need to focus on those particular areas, right? Problem with people that do coaching is they don't know why they need it, right? Will's just giving you a clear template here of like, oh, that's where I am, that's where I'm struggling, that's what I need to work on, right? There's so much clarity in this presentation and just understanding where you're at, and I've never seen it presented like this. And so it like definitely dawned on me when he did, and I was like, oh shit, right? I'm a level like 5x. So, but that's just because I'm old as fuck. But really kind of listen to what is being said here. It's about objectives and moving towards those objectives as you progress through the call. It's really, really important to understand that. And this is where closers get lost. No direction. Will's giving you a direction to head in, that every single step along the way, there is a base camp along the way. As you're going up Everest, base camp 1, base camp 2, base camp 3, you've got milestones to hit. And that's what he's just identified there. And it really does make a huge difference when you see, not just hear, see those milestones. It really does make your process way sharper, way sharper.
Yep. Couldn't have said it any better. How's my sound, by the way, Will?
Oh, buddy, I'm so happy we bought you that microphone.
It's the win of the century.
That and you finally getting LastPass. Guys, the biggest thing here is like, we're here to deliver as much value as we humanly fucking can inside of these 3 days. And if you want to take and run with it, take it and run with it. We also, starting next Monday, Sean, Dean, myself, but mainly Sean, is going to be starting the next round of boot camp. If you guys have been through boot camp, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat, because I'd love to see how many of you guys are here. I know there's a good amount of you guys. Yep, nice. Few you guys, yep, few others, awesome. This is going to be high level. You guys can take it and apply this in your calls today, and hopefully you are. Hopefully you guys are still recovering. Hopefully you guys are getting amazing wins, making more commissions. But if you guys want to drill down into this is a lot of information. It's a lot of us presenting. But if you want to drill down into this, it is 6 weeks of intensive homework and taking you guys as fast as humanly possible into going wherever you're at. If you're at stage 2, how do we bring you into stage 3? If you're at stage 1, how do we get you to master stage 1 and bring you into stage 2? How do we level you up where you have this foundation for the rest of your sales career, the rest of your life in terms of communication? So week 1, we're really going to break down, and Sean's really going to break down situation and problem and be able to go into those homework assignments. Guys, sorry, Sean. I almost shared something I shouldn't have. Sean has put himself into medical situations with the amount of effort that he puts into boot camp every time, and the amount of effort that goes into this. It is a lot of feedback. It is a lot of direct interaction with him and with all of us. Week 2, we're going to go into solution and goal. Week 3, we're going to go into that goal transition, consequence transitions. Week 4, we're going to script out your pitch and actually go into it so you can confidently deliver that for all the types of prospects you guys are going to get every single time. Week 5, we're going to get into a lot of objection handling. And week 6 is where we're able to tie everything together, answer any questions. There's going to be a lot of sales calls, reviews. There's going to be everything else. But guys, this is the program that I wish I had in the beginning, because the goal here is to give you as much clarity as humanly possible when you guys are on calls. The more clarity you have, the more you know where to take it, the higher the confidence goes. When you show up confidently on calls, you close more deals. People feel that on the other end of it. And I think if we haven't already, it looks like we put the link to bootcamp inside of the chat. Yeah, perfect. You guys can click on that. You can see the breakdown of everything in there. This is going up next round. We only run these 3 times a year, but next round, this is going up to 4,500 or maybe 4K. We're still playing with it. But if you guys do want to come in on this round, it's going to be the cheapest it'll ever be at $2,500, which is, in my opinion, a fucking steal, especially when I know I can speak for Sean and I. We've both spent
A lot.
50 grand, 60 grand on sales trading. It's everything that we've taken, we've learned, condensed into a thing, not to give you a bunch of confusion and make us sound really good, but to give you guys clarity and to make sure that you can execute that on calls and you can actually enjoy your sales career and make a whole lot of money while you do it. Sean, anything else to add on that, man?
No one in the space does this. The reason why I created this is because we were struggling to find good closers. Like John said, like I set it up. It was my initiative because I was struggling to find good closers. It was a fucking chore. The easiest way to do it is to train people yourself to the standard that you expect, to drill standards, to really provide a level of intensity that I'm not aware that anyone else provides. It's not just group training where you just walk into a room and go, hey, what questions do you have? And I'm not quite sure what to ask. I'm literally going to take you through every single phase step so that you understand it through learning and you validate through practice. You'll be doing a lot of role play. You'll be doing a lot of homework. You'll be held accountable by our team. It's the best it's ever been.
Ben, come join us, dude. Turn on your camera.
It's all right. And we are using this for our recruitment pipeline because extreme ownership, how can we put great closers on great offers? This is how we do it.
Got to train them.
Train them myself, right? It's the only way to go. And if, like John, I'm not telling you to quit your offer that you're on at the moment, but like that motherfucker went all in. And he worked and grinded and worked and grinded. And I encourage that. Like, you have my personal WhatsApp number when you're in there. And if I'm not getting questions and I'm not stressed the fuck, then you're not doing your job well enough. I'm there to really kind of support you through this. And comparatively to any other program out there, it beats it hands down. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Hey, Ben, I know your camera for some reason isn't. Oh, whoa.
I got it. We're good.
Come on, bro.
What's up, everybody? Yo.
Ben, you were trained by Sean a little bit, weren't you?
Indirectly. I actually learned a lot through my wife, who was going through his boot camp. This was in spring 2022, right?
Yeah, about that.
And the funny thing about it is, those of you, there's a small number of you who know my wife. Ryan's here. So my wife is not a confrontational person at all. And in fact, like, she got really uncomfortable when I was on sales calls, right, back at TF. And everybody remembers TF. It was like, pull the offer, totally like confrontational, like basically the worst of the worst. And so she's like, I don't know if I could ever do that. Well, she went through your boot camp, Sean, and she made it all the whole way until the final like meeting with you. And then she chickened out. She couldn't show up. And she always had this thing of like, oh, I never did it. And then fast forward actually we all met together, right, at this sniper event, right? And I told you about it and you were like, hey, come talk to me. But the point is that a year later, she went and she used what she learned from you inside. She decided to do sales. This person who was totally chicken shit did sales, and she went to the top of the leaderboard, her first time ever doing sales, just from the methodologies that you shared. So hats off to you, Sean.
See, do you know what? I remember her. And again, the reason why people stand out to me is because they really want to know everything. And she was one of those that wanted to know everything. And, there's a dual responsibility from a coach and a student. It's my responsibility to give you the information, but everyone learns differently. And so it's your responsibility as a student to ask me the questions to understand to your level what I'm saying so that you can validate that. So you've got the confidence to execute it. And she was one of those that just showed up and say, hey, I got a question. I got a question. I got a question. And it was fucking great. I love that back and forth because, you know, she is an amazing sales rep. There's no two ways about it. Like she role played really well and she stood up
Yeah.
countless times. And yeah, but you get out what you put into anything, don't you? And I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest things was just if you sit back and you just watch, you always will. But if you
Yeah.
get on the field and hey,
Oof.
prepared to make some fuck ups and make some mistakes and ask loads of questions, you'll win every
Yes.
time. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, she took that and she ran with it from what she learned from you. And listening to Will just now, I mean, I've worked with all these guys, right? Met them, right? And so, Will, just seeing you explain your process, I don't know anybody else out there who's explaining it in such a methodical way where even the person who just started to do sales today like can take it and run with it. There's some things I was writing down. I was like, Will, what was that thing again? Like I actually wrote it down because I was like, dude, that's pretty good. Is there an aspect of the about the money that makes you want to do that? I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Thanks, Fred.
So yeah, of course.
Obsessiveness over this for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Hey,
picture you talking to yourself, Will, be like, hey man, what would I say to myself if I really wanted?
I talk
Hey,
to my
man.
dog. I don't talk to myself.
Okay.
He
Okay.
doesn't talk back yet.
All right. Cool.
Hey, does anyone have any questions while we're here? Boot camp's awesome. It's going to be awesome. Does anyone have questions for Will, Sean about boot camp? Anyone wants to tell me I'm bigger than Sean, that's okay too. But
Guys,
chat's
again, the
open
goal
over
here
here.
is not. Yes, Amanda, you will get exactly as big as all of us. It comes with it. It's part of the deal. It's actually magicness. It's pretty awesome. 28-inch biceps immediately.
Well, that's very generous of you, man. Thank you.
This man.
And guys, tomorrow we're going to be going over a lot of the specific objection overcomes. So if you guys have a question about boot camp, by all means. But tomorrow we're going to be diving, and Sean's going to be diving into objection overcomes, how to address them, what to say, the frameworks behind them. Do not miss tomorrow. Like this is the thing that people are scream for. And Sean was our voted number one speaker amongst a lot of very good speakers at SalesCon when he did a similar presentation and he styled it in even.
Jesse said, what do we expect time commitment per week for best results? He's on a full-time offer right now.
I mean, everyone that was ever on a boot camp has always been on a full-time offer. Everyone has. I always put the sessions late in the day, so you've got time to just cut your diary off and focus. Obviously, everything's recorded as per, but that's why you have access to my WhatsApp, so that you can work around your schedules. And hey, Sean, I fucked this one up. How do I reframe this? How do I do that? And like, I'm down for it. That's what I'm there for. I don't want to say use and abuse me because that might come off the wrong way, but
use and abuse them.
but
Definitely.
I mean, like, how often do you get to like pick someone's brain who's been in the industry 14 years every single day? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen. So I'm willing to sacrifice myself and put myself into hospital again, for the greater good. That's what leadership's all about.
Gat said with the two camps analogy, how do you navigate the convo if they pick camp B, even though if they're not there or say between camps for Will?
Oh, Keith, that's even better. If they're picking the one that you want them to do, then that's actually golden. Because now when I get over there, it's like, well, hey man, are you making decisions from the place of camp A, from camp B? Like, yeah, it smacks them in the face. It's pretty interesting to see. And so again, the key with all of that is, I actually got this. It was actually I didn't tell you guys when it was. It was about 5 years ago. So my daughter was 6 months old, and I was walking her in Denver, which is where I was living at the time, and I was listening to Tony Robbins live. It's his only live one on Audible. Not because I love Tony Robbins, but he's the best at reframes. And I was just trying to figure out the structure. Like that guy just talks in reframes. But he said something there that was really interesting. He's like, he was talking about turning around suicides. And he was talking about the hardest thing to do is to take somebody's belief and in who their identity is and changing it. And I had this idea. I was like, well, instead of trying to change it, what if I just reinforced it earlier on the call and then used where they believe their identity is and where, you know, their belief is, and utilize that in objection handling. And that was the framework that I was working from. And I iterated on this thing for 5 years until I got it. It was very heavy-handed in the beginning, and it didn't land as nearly as well. The softer I got it and the more subtle I got it, the better it landed. And so it doesn't really matter where somebody goes. I just need them to identify with one or the other. But if they do that, what's up, dude? If they do that, then I can utilize that in objection handling if I get objections there. Does that answer your question? I know we'll have to see it in the chat, but let me know.
Kath let us know. He just wanted to come say join boot camp. That's all.
Oh, new mic. Oh, Diana plays with the mic too. Yeah, expect that for a while, Dean. We should have gotten you the stand. I didn't think about it. Oh, speakers coming in hot.
But we will go through a lot of things tomorrow, guys. There's no magic pill to this. There is taking the information that you glean from others, understanding it to a point where you can confidently execute it, and then reviewing the living bejesus out of it. Like core reviews, core reviews, core reviews, core reviews, core reviews. You need to know that what you're consuming is being executed the right way, or else the only thing that's ever going to happen is you're going to go around in circles and you're going to coach hop forever, right? And this is why I really loved like Ben's wife coming in and asking loads of questions. John did the same thing, asked loads of questions, and both have gone on to be extremely successful. I mean, I won't even go into the names of people that were on the first 3 boot camps that I ran when I started, but all of them now, sales coaches, sales team leaders, sales managers, business owners, because it gives clarity where others don't. It gives a process where others lack. It gives you the opportunity to really understand it on a deeper level than anyone else is teaching. And I can promise you that.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say before we wrap up here, guys, the mistake here would be thinking that Sean, Dean, myself are special and wizards at sales. We are now wizards at sales, but we didn't start out that way. It's hard work and applying a framework, and the faster you can get clarity and the faster you get training to master those levels, the faster you get to the point that we are. I firmly believe that anybody can get there. I don't think we're particularly special. I think we just put in the work and the time. And we've taught now thousands of sales reps so they can compress those times. Quite frankly, because we had to, because we run some big teams with very high dollar amount things, $70,000 things, $30,000 things. And we needed to figure out how to staff that with talent. And we had to create a lot of it over the years. So anybody can do this. We're stoked you guys are here. Make sure to go in the Facebook group, put in your assessment inside of there, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, team.
See you, team.